Today, we light the flame of wisdom to explore a powerful truth about valuing peace and time as we age. There comes a moment in life when priorities shift, and we realize that not every connection or obligation deserves our energy. At 65, the lessons of a lifetime come into focus, and the choices we make start to reflect a deeper understanding of what truly matters. In this video, we'll uncover why stepping back from certain relationships isn't about bitterness, it's about choosing peace, protecting our time, and honoring our well-being. We'll explore the changes that come with age, the meaning of solitude, and the wisdom that allows us to live with intention. These lessons aren't just for those of us at a later stage of life, they resonate with anyone seeking clarity and fulfillment. Before we begin, take a moment to support this channel by liking this video and subscribing. Share your thoughts in the comments. What is one life lesson you've learned about relationships or time? We would love to hear your insights. Now, let's begin. Time. When we are young, it feels infinite, a vast expanse of days, weeks, and years stretching endlessly before us. We act as though it will always be there, waiting for us to fill it. In those early years, we spend our hours with little thought, letting them slip through our fingers as if they are limitless. But as we grow older, something changes. Time begins to feel more precious, more fragile. Each moment takes on a new weight, a new meaning. At 65, I've come to see time as my most valuable possession. It's not a resource that can be replenished or borrowed. Once a moment passes, it's gone forever. That realization shifts everything. It changes how I spend my days, who I spend them with, and even how I think about the future. What used to feel endless now feels finite, and that makes every second more meaningful than I ever could have imagined in my youth. When we are younger, we waste time without even realizing it. Hours spent on meaningless conversations, days devoted to obligations that drain us, and years spent chasing goals that don't truly fulfill us. We tell ourselves we'll get to what matters later. Later, when the work slows down. Later, when the kids are grown. Later, when life isn't so chaotic. But later doesn't always come. Life has a way of surprising us, and we can't always count on having all the time we think we do. That's why, at this stage of life, every moment feels like a gift. A quiet morning with a warm cup of coffee isn't just a routine, it's a moment to savor. A walk through the park, watching the light filter through the trees, becomes a reminder of the beauty that surrounds us. Even the simplest things, like the sound of birdsong or the sight of a sunrise, feel extraordinary when we pause to truly experience them. I've learned to protect my time fiercely. That doesn't mean I live in fear of losing it. It means I've become intentional about how I use it. I no longer fill my calendar with activities that don't bring me joy or meaning. I don't say yes out of guilt or obligation. Instead, I focus on what truly matters. Conversations that feel real, relationships that nourish my soul, and experiences that bring me peace and contentment. For me, that might mean spending an afternoon with a close friend, sharing stories and laughter over a pot of tea. It might mean sitting in the stillness of my garden, listening to the rustle of leaves and the hum of life all around me. It might mean calling a loved one to tell them how much they mean to me, knowing that these connections are what make life rich and full. Time has taught me to say no without regret. Every no is a yes to what truly matters. When I decline an invitation that doesn't align with my values, I'm saying yes to the things that do. When I let go of activities that feel draining, I'm making room for those that bring me joy. It's not selfish, it's wise. Life is too short to spend on things that don't matter. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that time has a way of showing us what's important. It strips away the noise and distractions, leaving behind only what truly counts. It's in those moments, when we're fully present and connected to what matters most, that life feels its richest. So, I ask you, what's one way you've learned to spend your time wisely? How have you found meaning in the moments that matter most? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's learn from one another and celebrate the gift of time together. Relationships. They are the threads that weave through our lives, connecting us to the people, experiences, and emotions that shape who we are. But as we grow older, something shifts. We begin to understand that not every thread is meant to remain. Not every connection deserves the time and energy it demands. And that's not a sign of failure, it's simply life moving forward. Over the years, I've learned that relationships change, just as we do. There was a time when I believed in holding on tightly to everyone. I thought the effort I put into relationships was proof of how much I cared. I remembered every birthday, showed up to every gathering, and stayed in touch even when it left me feeling drained. But as time passed, I realized that not every relationship is meant to last forever. And that's okay. Letting go isn't easy, though. It's natural to feel a sense of guilt or loss when a connection fades. We wonder if we could have tried harder, done more, or been better. I used to carry those thoughts with me, questioning what I could have done differently. But then I realized something: letting go doesn't mean the relationship didn't matter. It simply means that it has run its course. Some relationships drain us without us even realizing it. They take more than they give, leaving us feeling exhausted instead of uplifted. It might be a friendship that feels one-sided, a family connection that's weighed down by unresolved conflicts, or even a professional relationship that's built on expectations instead of mutual respect. These are the connections that teach us the importance of boundaries, the quiet strength of saying no to what no longer serves us. Healthy relationships aren't measured by how many people we surround ourselves with. They're not about the number of social events we attend or the length of our contact lists. Instead, they're defined by the quality of connection we share with others. True relationships are rooted in mutual respect and reciprocity. They're the ones where we feel seen, heard, and valued, not for what we do but for who we are. When I think about the relationships that matter most to me now, they are the ones that feel effortless. They don't come with expectations or conditions. They're the connections where we can sit in comfortable silence or share a deep conversation over tea. These are the relationships that nourish my soul and remind me of what it means to truly connect. Of course, not all relationships stay in our lives forever, but that doesn't mean they didn't serve a purpose. I'm grateful for every relationship I've had, even the ones that didn't last. They taught me lessons about kindness, resilience, and the importance of authenticity. They showed me what I value in others and helped me understand what I need in return. For that, I will always be thankful. As we grow older, our circles often become smaller. But smaller doesn't mean lesser, it means richer. The relationships we choose to keep are the ones that add meaning and joy to our lives. These are the connections that remind us of who we are and what truly matters. And by letting go of what drains us, we create space for what uplifts us. So, who in your life uplifts you? Who brings light and joy into your days? Share your story in the comments below. Let's celebrate the relationships that make life worth living. Trust. It's one of the most profound connections we share with others, yet also one of the most delicate. In our younger years, trust feels straightforward, almost effortless. We give it freely, without hesitation, because we haven't yet faced the lessons life will inevitably teach us. But as we grow older, our understanding of trust deepens, becoming more nuanced and, at times, more guarded. There's a reason trust feels so precious. It's not something you can hold in your hands or see with your eyes, yet its impact is undeniable. When trust is present, it strengthens relationships, allowing them to flourish. But when it's broken, the damage can be profound, leaving wounds that may take years, or even a lifetime, to heal. I remember the first time I felt the sting of betrayal. It wasn't just the act itself that hurt, it was the realization that someone I trusted had chosen to disregard the bond we shared. Whether it's a friend who shares a confidence they promised to keep or a family member who turns their back in a moment of need, the pain of broken trust lingers. It's not just about what they did, it's about what it means. Trust is about believing that someone will protect what matters to you, and when they don't, it shakes the very foundation of the relationship. But trust isn't just about others. It's also about trusting yourself. This was a lesson that took me many years to learn. There were countless times when my instincts tried to warn me about a situation or a person. A feeling, a hesitation, a subtle sense that something wasn't right, but I ignored it. I told myself I was being paranoid or overly sensitive. Looking back, I realized those instincts were trying to guide me, to protect me from hurt. Now, I listen to that inner voice. Trusting yourself is the first step to building stronger, healthier connections with others. As we navigate life, the way we approach trust changes. It becomes less about throwing open the door to everyone and more about deciding who has earned a place in our lives. This isn't about building walls, it's about setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't a rejection of others, they're a reflection of self-respect. They remind us that our time, energy, and emotional well-being are worth protecting. Saying no isn't selfish, it's necessary. I used to think that saying no would make me seem unkind or ungrateful. I thought I had to be everything to everyone to prove my worth. But over time, I've learned that true strength lies in knowing your limits and honoring them. Boundaries don't just protect us, they allow trust to thrive. When you set clear expectations, the people who truly care about you will respect them. And those who don't? They reveal themselves quickly. One of the most challenging aspects of trust is rebuilding it once it's been broken. It's not easy. Words alone aren't enough to repair the damage. Trust requires action, consistent, genuine effort over time. It's about showing, not telling. I've seen relationships survive betrayals because both people were willing to do the work. They didn't pretend the hurt didn't exist, they faced it head-on, with honesty and vulnerability. That's what rebuilding trust looks like, a step-by-step process of proving that the bond can be mended. But not all broken trust can, or should, be repaired. Some relationships are better left in the past. It took me a long time to accept that letting go isn't a failure. It's not about giving up, it's about recognizing when a relationship no longer serves you. Holding on out of guilt or obligation only prolongs the pain. Letting go creates space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. I've also learned that trust isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It looks different in every relationship. With some people, trust might mean knowing they'll always be there when you need them. With others, it's about shared values or mutual respect. The key is understanding what trust means to you and being clear about your expectations. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. In my own life, I've seen trust in its purest forms. A friend who stood by me during my darkest days, offering support without expecting anything in return. A neighbor who checked in on me during a storm, ensuring I was safe. A family member who admitted their mistakes and worked to make amends. These moments remind me that trust, while fragile, is also incredibly powerful. But trust isn't just about the big moments. It's in the small, everyday gestures that show someone cares. A phone call to check in, a kind word when you're feeling low, or simply being present when it matters most. These actions may seem small, but they build a foundation of trust that can withstand life's challenges. As I've grown older, I've become more selective about who I trust. This isn't about cynicism, it's about wisdom. It's about recognizing that not everyone deserves access to your heart. Trust is a gift, and like any gift, it should be given thoughtfully. That doesn't mean closing yourself off to new connections, it means being mindful of who you let in. There's a balance to be found between caution and openness. If you've been hurt before, it's natural to want to protect yourself. But living with constant suspicion can rob you of the joy that comes from genuine connection. The key is to find a middle ground. Trust should be given gradually, as it's earned, not as an automatic response. One of the most liberating lessons I've learned is that it's okay to outgrow relationships. People change, and so do we. A friendship that once felt unbreakable might no longer align with who we've become. That's not a failure, it's a reflection of growth. Letting go doesn't erase the good memories or the lessons learned. It simply acknowledges that some relationships are meant to be part of our journey, not our destination. As we move through life, trust continues to evolve. It's not static, it grows and shifts with our experiences. And while broken trust can leave scars, it can also teach us valuable lessons. It teaches us to listen to our instincts, to set boundaries, and to prioritize the relationships that truly matter. Rebuilding trust is a journey, but it's one worth taking. When someone proves through their actions that they're committed to mending the bond, it can lead to a deeper, more authentic connection. But it's important to remember that rebuilding trust isn't about erasing the past, it's about creating a new foundation for the future. So, how have your boundaries changed over time? How have your experiences shaped the way you trust others and yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your stories in the comments, and let's reflect together on the lessons trust has taught us. Trust is a delicate bond, earned, not given. It's a reminder that while life may challenge our faith in others, it also gives us the strength to rebuild, reconnect, and rediscover the power of genuine connection. Solitude. For many, the word carries an uneasy weight, a sense of emptiness or disconnection. But what if solitude isn't something to fear, but something to embrace? What if, instead of being a symbol of loneliness, it becomes a choice, a way to find peace, clarity, and renewal? For much of my life, I didn't understand the difference between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is an ache, a yearning for connection that feels just out of reach. It's the hollow feeling that comes from being surrounded by people but still feeling unseen. Solitude, on the other hand, is entirely different. Solitude is a deliberate act, a space you create to step away from the noise and reconnect with yourself. When I began to choose solitude, I didn't know what to expect. At first, the quiet felt strange, almost too loud. The absence of constant conversation, the stillness that replaced the hustle of daily life, it was unfamiliar. But over time, I discovered something profound. Solitude wasn't emptiness. It was a gift. There is something deeply comforting about sitting alone with your thoughts, free from the demands of the world. Solitude gives you the chance to reflect on your life, to think about the choices you've made and the lessons you've learned. In those quiet moments, you can see things more clearly. You can let go of regrets and make peace with the past. You can remind yourself of who you are and what truly matters. Some of the most meaningful moments of my life have been spent in solitude. Sitting by a window with a notebook, jotting down thoughts that come without effort. Walking through a quiet forest, listening to the rustle of leaves and the distant call of birds. Watching the light change as the sun sets, painting the sky in shades of gold and amber. These moments aren't grand or dramatic, but they hold a quiet joy that's hard to put into words. Solitude also teaches you to value the relationships that truly matter. When you spend time alone, you become more aware of the people who add light to your life. You start to see who uplifts you and who drains you. Solitude gives you the space to strengthen meaningful relationships, to appreciate them fully, and to invest in them without feeling overwhelmed by the noise of too many connections. For years, I thought being surrounded by people defined my worth. I believed that a full calendar, a crowded room, and constant interaction were signs of a fulfilling life. But now, I see things differently. True fulfillment doesn't come from how many people you have around you. It comes from the quality of the connections you choose to keep. Solitude helps you see this more clearly. When I think about solitude, I'm reminded of how it helps us return to ourselves. It's easy to lose sight of who you are in the rush of daily life. Responsibilities, expectations, and the endless pull of distractions can blur your sense of self. But when you step away from all of that and spend time in solitude, you begin to reconnect. You start to remember the things that bring you joy, the dreams you once held, and the values that guide you. Solitude isn't about shutting the world out. It's about creating space for what matters. It's about choosing peace over chaos and clarity over confusion. It's about saying, this time is for me, and that's okay. There's no shame in needing time alone. In fact, it's one of the most loving things you can do for yourself. If you've ever feared being alone, I encourage you to think about it differently. Solitude isn't a punishment or a sign of weakness. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to pause, to breathe, and to focus on the things that truly matter. It's a way to find balance and to nurture your own well-being. So, how do you spend your quiet moments? What's your favorite way to embrace solitude? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's celebrate the beauty of choosing peace, one quiet moment at a time. The world feels faster now, doesn't it? Everything seems to move at a speed that leaves little room to pause, to breathe, to connect. We're constantly bombarded with notifications, deadlines, and the pressure to keep up. In this tech-driven age, it's easy to feel like we're always in motion but rarely present. Somewhere along the way, the simplicity of life, the depth of genuine connection, has started to slip through our fingers. I often think about how much things have changed over the years. There was a time when relationships felt natural, when conversations were unhurried, and when time spent with loved ones wasn't squeezed into gaps between tasks. Neighbors weren't just people who lived nearby, they were friends. Families didn't need elaborate plans to gather, it just happened, effortlessly. Life wasn't without its challenges, but there was a warmth and simplicity to it that feels harder to find now. Today, our lives are filled with conveniences that previous generations couldn't have dreamed of. We can connect with anyone, anywhere, at any time. Video calls, instant messages, and social media allow us to stay in touch in ways that would have been impossible decades ago. Yet, despite this constant connectivity, something feels missing. The depth of connection, the richness of truly being present with one another, those are harder to come by. I've noticed how often technology gets in the way of moments that matter. A family dinner interrupted by the ping of a phone. A heartfelt conversation cut short because someone's attention is pulled toward a screen. Even when we're physically together, our minds are often elsewhere, scattered across digital landscapes that demand our time and focus. It's ironic, isn't it? The very tools designed to bring us closer can sometimes make us feel further apart. But the beauty of life is that we can choose differently. We can choose to reclaim the moments that matter, to create space for simplicity in a fast-moving world. It starts with small, deliberate actions, turning off notifications during dinner, setting aside time for uninterrupted conversations, and being fully present with the people we care about. These choices might seem minor, but their impact is profound. One of the most meaningful changes I've made is learning to balance the conveniences of modern life with the timeless values that truly matter. Technology has its place. It allows us to stay connected across distances, to share moments with loved ones we can't always be with in person. But it doesn't replace the value of face-to-face interactions, the warmth of a hug, or the joy of laughter shared in the same room. I've found that some of the simplest moments are the most fulfilling. Sitting with family in a cozy living room, sharing stories that make us laugh until tears stream down our faces. Walking with a friend, talking about life and everything that comes with it. These moments don't require grand gestures or elaborate plans. They just require presence, our full attention and willingness to be there, in the moment. It's not about rejecting technology or longing for a past that no longer exists. Every era has its challenges, and every generation adapts. The key is to find balance, to use the tools of the modern world without letting them use us. It's about choosing when to engage and when to step back, when to be online and when to be present in the here and now. There's a certain peace that comes with simplifying our lives. By letting go of the constant need to stay connected, we create room for the things that truly matter. We rediscover the joy of meaningful relationships, the comfort of heartfelt conversations, and the beauty of moments shared without distraction. In this fast-moving world, simplicity isn't a step backward, it's a return to what's essential. It's a reminder that the pace of life doesn't have to dictate its quality. By slowing down and focusing on what matters, we can anchor ourselves in the values that give life depth and meaning. So, I ask you, how do you create meaningful connections in today's busy world? What steps do you take to balance modern conveniences with timeless values? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's inspire each other to find simplicity and connection in a world that's always rushing forward. Throughout this journey, we've explored the lessons that shape a meaningful life. We've talked about the value of time, the importance of focusing on relationships that matter, and the strength it takes to trust carefully and set boundaries. We've reflected on the power of solitude, the beauty of simplicity, and the clarity that comes from choosing peace. These lessons aren't just words, they're choices we make every day. They're the steps we take to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. And as we move forward, I hope you'll carry these ideas with you, finding ways to apply them in your own life. So now, I invite you to take a moment and share your thoughts. What does peace mean to you? How have you found ways to protect it? Leave a comment below, I'd love to hear your perspective. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need to hear these words today. May your wisdom grow brighter with every step. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next video.